Hello, everyone. My name is Josh, and this is the Skype for Business recap. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Florida. It's been sunny for the most part, a little overcast here and there, but the temp is perfect, so I can't complain there. I am in a different spot yet again. My spot that I was at last week, I really wanted to return to. Nice and quiet, peaceful, good background. But there was an alcohol fueled biker karaoke contest going on a couple buildings down. And it was really not going to make for good background music, so I wanted to avoid that. That's what I've done. So we changed spots yet again. I am back by the water, as you'll see right back there. And I'm hoping that these trees and the big mossiness hanging down from the trees will block some of the wind out and that we'll have decent enough audio quality. So let's not waste too much more time in case the wind gets bad and jump right into things. First, I don't have this on my content, but before I get in there, it really should be part of the content. Enterprise Connect is happening at the end of this month. I don't have the precise dates. I really should because I'm going to be there. I'm going to be working part of the time at the booth for integration partners. We've got a table that we're going to be setting up there. So if you're going to be at Enterprise Connect and want to say hi, try the integration partners booth, and I might get to say hi to you there or meet you if it's the first time we've ever met. But I'm really hoping to be able to see a lot of familiar faces and catch up with people that I've had a chance to meet previously. I think it's going to be a great conference. I'm really hoping to have some big announcements come out of it from various areas, and there will be a Skype for Business presence there, obviously. So if you're going to be there, shoot me a message offline. Let me know you're going to be there. Hopefully we can catch up and say hi. I am looking forward to going. This will be my first time at Enterprise Connect, and I've heard good things. So Orlando, end of March. March is going to be a big month. We'll see you guys there if you're going to be there. Let's jump over to the Infinity screen, okay, and let's pull up Firefox. Here we go. So first thing I want to point out, I'm not going to jump on a long soapbox. You can go in there and read what the whole point of this is. I put a LinkedIn post together about it as well. You can read that. Essentially, what this is the feedback site for Microsoft Teams. And I submitted an item last week calling for the complete and total integration of Skype for Business into Microsoft Teams. Not a separate chat presence entity between the two as we currently have, but the chat and presence and meetings, all that stuff that we see in Teams, that all be Skype for Business backend. That's what I want. And honestly, it's an adoption issue. It's an ease of use issue. I think there are a plethora of good reasons that we want to go in that direction. In the last week, there have been 628 votes, which is phenomenal. That has just increased really fast, and I'm really excited to see that kind of support and enthusiasm about this idea. We've had enough comments, all, like I said, all mostly supportive again. There's been enough there that we got the attention of Microsoft. Sufatra responded, letting us know that the product team is putting this item under review. They are going to see how this might work, how they might be able to implement it. No promises. But we want to keep hammering these votes. We want to get it up over 1,000. We want to get it beyond 1,000 because we want them to know that this is not just a nice to have item. This is a crucial item for best adoption and most friendly user experience, most friendly approach to the existing investments that companies have made in a unified communications platform with Microsoft tools. So we want to see this go from a purple under review to a green working on it. Help me get there, guys. We can do this. We can bring Skype for Business into the Teams interface and have Teams is already amazing. I can't imagine how awesome it would be if this were the case. So the possibilities are endless. Let's help it get there. All right. Soapbox is over. Let's jump over the next item here. First off, an apology. I put this post out this week, and it was after a review of the February 2017 CU, and I had a misunderstanding about how the CU structure works. Unfortunately, we have numbered CUs, and then we just have CUs that are not numbered. But when you go look at each of them for each of their respective months, they don't say if they're CU5 or they're CU4 or whatever. By the way, we're at CU4 HF1. They just say it's a cumulative update. So if you count how many updates have been released since Skype for Business arrived, There's seven cumulative updates. And I misunderstood the way this worked. I thought that meant we were at CU7. Um, and so the post was about the fact that the CU7 did say that there was a fix in there for a silent failure problem when you would try to install Skype for Business on Windows Server 2016. Okay, and I thought, well, that's good to know, but I didn't recall Windows Server 2016 being supported yet. So is that the case? I went over to the software requirements page, and this whole, by the way, this link here takes you to the February 2017 CU, and that's where this verbiage was. It is no longer there. The KB that was linked to for this problem is right here. You click on this link and you get an empty page. The content has been removed, and I think it's because there was confusion getting stirred up around the issue of supportability. So then we go to the software requirements page down here for Skype for Business Server 2015. And if you take a good look at that page, you will notice as you scroll down, the operating systems for Skype for Business Server 2015 supported are 2012 across the field here. Okay, there is no 2016 in here. It says if it's not on this list, it won't work properly. Please don't try it now. Then you go down and read this note. Windows Server 2016 is not included in the list now, but they're planning to add it as a supported option after CU5 is released. Now, to me, this was a discrepancy, and I thought, is this outdated documentation here? Because they're saying after CU5, but I count 7 CUs, so what's the deal? But I pointed out in my post, okay, note this discrepancy here, but the fact remains, Microsoft has not made a Windows Server 2016 supported announcement yet. So take it with a grain of salt and be careful when you're working with that there. Just something to note and pay attention to, okay? Now, when we go and look at this structure once again, I had it shortly after I posted this pointed out to me by a helpful person in the comments here that we were at CU4 and that we're actually at CU4 HF1. So I got a little bit of schooling on the fact that every CU that comes out is not a numbered CU. It doesn't say that, so it's kind of confusing. You kind of have to keep track. There's not a really good system right now for numbering each CU and seeing what they're at because they don't put that on the actual CU page. A bit confusing, and I hope they kind of smooth that over and correct it as we move forward, but that's where my confusion set in. Apologies if I caused any sort of confusion about supportability. I did want to point out with this post that Windows Server 2016 wasn't supported yet, and that's what we need to pay attention to. And now I understand a little bit more about CU numbering. We'll keep that in mind moving forward. So if you read this and were at all confused before I made the edits to it, that's the story behind it. So, okay, moving on. PSTN Calling is growing, and I'm so excited. I am been a huge fan of voice in Office 365, and PSTN conferencing is in a number of countries, but PSTN Calling is understandably going to be a lot slower getting there. PSTN Calling to this point only has U.S. availability, UK, Puerto Rico, France, and lastly Spain. Okay, so those were the 5 to come out, pretty much I think in order there. And that's where it's been for a little while now. There was no word on when the next announcement was going to be about which countries were next on deck. Now we've got that announcement. Ireland and Netherlands are now in public preview, not GA, but public preview. So as Tom points out down here, Tom Arbuthnot, Office Servers and Services MVP, almost always the first one to point these developments out, points out that the qualifications for being in the preview are an active Office 365 tenant in Ireland. Billing address also needs to be in the same country. Requirements for the preview. You got to need 50 users using PSTN calling. Okay. Users are expected to complete frequent program surveys and then join occasional live feedback sessions. So this is a very welcome announcement, very exciting one. I am really glad to see PSTN calling growing. It is there are going to be fewer and fewer instances where we need to try to have some sort of weird solution for companies that are geographically dispersed, want to adopt PSTN calling, but can't because they have arms of their organization in different countries where it's not present. we're getting closer to that not being the case, and it's very exciting. Okay, next up. This got me excited this week. March 14th, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. The global availability, the announcement of GA for general availability of Microsoft Teams is going to be made. Microsoft said that was expected to be before the end of Q1, and they are delivering on that. We are still in March, and they are going to be announcing GA of Microsoft Teams. You can register now at this link right here for the event. It's going to be a webinar, obviously, so you can go and watch it live. I'm really hoping, and I can only imagine, that this type of announcement will be accompanied with new feature updates. I don't know that, but I'm hoping that's the case. Namely, the biggest one, Federation. That is the highest voted issue on the feedback page, and by far would provide the most value in one foul swoop to this solution. So I hope that's what we're going to see come March 14th. And if they can throw any more cool little announcements out there, that would just be awesome. So very good stuff. Very glad to see this. A lot of people have been excited sharing this on LinkedIn and Twitter. Hopefully you guys will join as well. Last issue to announce here, item to announce. Cloud Connector Edition release 1.4.2 is not released, but they are planning on releasing it pending final testing on the 20th of this month, March 20th. If it gets there, they want you to start planning for this now, preparing for it, figuring out what's going to be required in your environment. There are a number of changes and things to prepare for if you are currently at version 1.4.1. Some of these things are confirmed group policy is configured for the automatic updates, removing forward PIA from Cloud Connector configuration, setting the CCE account passwords to not expire. This was due to some sort of glitch or bug that was present in previous builds where the account passwords would expire too early. So we don't want to deal with that when we're trying to upgrade this version here. And then setting CCE account password. Oh, I already read that one. Updating Office 365 tenant admin passwords in Cloud Connector. So if this is you, if this pertains to you, and I know there are a good amount of CCE deployments out there right now, read this thoroughly and carefully. Make sure you're ready for the automatic update that comes. Like they point out up here, this update is important as it is the first to automatically update all existing Skype for Business Cloud Connector 1.4.1 appliances. That is important and something to pay close attention to. So check that out, okay? That is the last I have. Back to the infinity screen and back to the main camera. That's the last announcement for today, but it was a busy week. There were a lot of announcements, and I hope this was helpful to you. As usual, if you found it helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you would retweet or share the show out there. I really appreciate you guys talking about it and sharing what you do find helpful. I also really appreciate feedback, so if there is any feedback, please throw it my way. Let me know what you think. How can I make this better? What things are really working well, etc. I appreciate feedback in any shape or form. Yeah, that's all I've got for today. It has been an incredibly busy week. This is going to be a busy rest of the month. Q1 has been phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to Q2. I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope this week is fun, but as usual, safe, and that we will see you back here next Friday for the next Skype for Business recap. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you next week. Adios.